Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah D. Smith. You know, I believe it is better to train early rather than to fix later. My goal for 2022, or my theme is, it's all about your actions. Well, my theme for this month is releasing, building, and improving relationships. And so, Andrea and I have a wonderful topic that we're going to share with you today. How are you?
I am great, Miss Deborah. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. So, we are super excited because today we are going to be talking about a subject, uh, blueprint for life. Blueprint for life. You know, there are some basic building materials that are needed to build your best life, but you have to start with a blueprint. That's just like you're building a building or a house or whatever. You don't just tell somebody, hey, I want my dream home, and they get out there and start working on it. They have to have a blueprint. So you need a blueprint before you can build your best life. And those building materials that you need are your associations, who those people are, what they are doing for you in your life, your self discipline, each fundamental goal that you have, your mindset, what type of mindset you have, and your basic financial knowledge. So we are excited and we're going to get into it. But first and foremost, Andrea, we want you to tell everybody about yourself.
Well, to start with, I am a wife and mother, and I am an entrepreneur. I am also a certified youth leader with the Ministry of Youth, and I have been a commander with the Royal Rangers Boys Club for over 20 years. I I am passionate about youth work, and I'm also passionate about agility and Scrum, being a certified Scrum Master and a project manager. I am also the founder of the first and only Bahamas Agile Project Management Community in the Bahamas, and I am a avid agilist, meaning that I subscribe to all things agile and agility and making adjustments within my life. So I think that's about it for me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm glad to hear it. And I want to say good evening to everybody out there that's watching. Good evening, Peggy, Deacon Holmes, Dan. Thank you all for tuning in. And we're going to get started. Please share, share, share. uh, and just like I stated before, you know, before you construct anything, you got to have the proper materials to do that. So, Andrea, what comes to mind when you think about a blueprint for one's life?
Well, I did tell my community that this topic was going to be a bit controversial because I don't have your typical response. I think that as a agilist, I incorporate what that means. And what that means for me is that I don't necessarily have a blueprint that's forward thinking. I incorporate reverse engineering, and I look at something that we use called Remember the Future. And with Remember the Future, if you can envision where you want to be in the future, then you can take steps and reverse or work backwards to get to where you want to go. Because you'd find that you can have, they call it dream boards, and you could have vision boards, and you could have your life planned out to the T. But you have to be able to pivot and adjust when changes happen that may seem to stir you off course. But if your focus is not on the destination as much as the journey, then you could always make those adjustments because you're working from what you see in the future state. So you're not hampered by your present state because we all know adversities will come
Oh, yes.
and challenges will come. But if you don't look at where you are now, but you focus your eyes on where you want to be, then that's what you would progress towards. So when I think about blueprint, I reverse engineer this whole scenario and I think about what my vision is. I think on a different level. I think visionary. I think change agent. I think doing something that no one has done before. I think, you have to be revolutionary. This is not the time to follow trends. This is the time to make the path where the path was not made before. So this is traveling an uncharted course and doing something that's not in a comfort zone. It's coming out of that comfort zone and just being extraordinary. And that takes you not seeing with your carnal eyes and not looking at your present state. So the blueprint is fine if that's what you need, but it's always, in my opinion, best to look and remember the future and work backwards.
All right. So everybody hear that? Remembering the future and working backwards is Andrea's philosophy on how to do that. So we're going to go with that. And I like the term you gave, the reverse engineering.
Yep.
So you know that future state where you want to get to, and so you just gotta get to it.
Yes.
All right. So as an engaged parent, going back to my building materials, what building materials based on the engineering that you use or the philosophy that you use as far as a parent, what building materials or whatever do you ensure that your children have relating to improving relationships? So just in their relationships.
Well, for me, being a professional student, yes, I'm a self-proclaimed professional student because I'm always studying something and going after some type of certification. So one would think that I value IQ higher than anything else. But in fact, I value EQ, meaning that I value emotional intelligence over your academic intelligence. And I would like to have my children have the building blocks of knowing how to effectively communicate when dealing with relationships, because a lot of times we lack soft skills as human beings because we're self-centered, we're egotistical, and we just focus on ourselves. We don't think about how we affect others. And a great thing to have is being aware of your emotional intelligence, knowing that soft skills are critical skills. Communication skills are vital skills because the single most important thing that you can do is listen. And I think a lot of persons fail in listening because we're so heated to respond. We don't take the time to actually listen and empathize and understand. You get understanding through listening. And when you understand, that's the path to great communication. And empathy, I wrote some notes. As I said, understanding is the path to good communication. Listening is the gate to understanding, and empathy is the key that unlocks that gate. So if I had to put any type of skills, or you call it building materials, into my children, I would like for them to have those skills because that's what takes you through life. Like they said, manners and respect is what takes you through life. So how you treat people, the way you communicate with people, and the way you interact is very important. And I would rather someone say to me, you have a very well-mannered child, than to say you have a very rude but smart child.
Yes. All right. So listening, empathy, and communication.
Yes.
And the third one. Very good. Yes, and those are some key skills, and yet I do believe in those soft skills because, you know, a lot of people don't work on those, and those are essential to have, and especially those listening skills. If we don't have good listening skills, that can disrupt a lot of things. That can disrupt your business practices and principles. And it's like as far as your children and making sure that they are grounded, you know where they are, you know when their mind begins to wander, because if you know you're that child is trying to communicate something to you and tell you something, and your mind is on this next call I have to make, and you are only hearing half of what they're saying, there's a whole lot you can miss. So
Yes, and as parents, I think we need to really practice better listening, and not only expect that from our children, we need to practice that as well, because that's what helps the bond, and that would help ensure that we have great communication.
right, very good. Good evening, Mrs. Flowers. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Okay, and in the whole theme for this month is releasing those relationships, building relationships, and improving those relationships. Uh, what do you think about disassociating yourself, or, yourself, or guiding your child to push, uh, disassociate themselves from a relationship?
Well, I think it's very important for us to teach our children what toxic relationships look like, and to have those very important conversations, because sometimes, we want to give them their space to learn, but we also need to ensure that we're not allowing them to put themselves in a situation where they could actually become harmed because of relationships. And I think sometimes we take it for granted that they would make the right decisions. But if we don't instill that knowledge and ensure that they can make those right decisions, then we're failing as parents. And toxic relationships can come in many forms. It doesn't have to be somebody who is exhibiting some bad behavior. It could be someone who is encouraging them to do something that they know is not within their innate character. So it could be someone who is like, there was a situation where a young lady was charged for encouraging her so-called friend to commit suicide.
Mhm.
It's like we don't know the conversations that our kids are having in private, but we have to ensure that whatever these relationships are, that they're productive and they aren't toxic and negative relationships that can cause them to be out of character. Because sometimes your kids go into this tailspin where they change on you. People change, and our children change. So we would say, well, okay, you set the foundation, you instill those principles and values in them as a child. But we hope that when they become adults, they make the right decisions, but that's not always the case. And then sometimes they get caught up in stuff just by association, and guilt by association is a very serious thing. And it's like if you're out with a group of friends and somebody is driving around and you're just in the car as a passenger, but they have a unlicensed firearm, you're getting locked up with everybody in the car because
Everybody.
you're there. So you can talk and talk and talk and tell you have a sore throat, but you have to at some point, I guess, sit back and pray for your children and hope that they make the right decisions. Pray that whatever you've instilled in them in their youth, that they hear your voice in the back of their mind whenever they have to make a decision. They keep saying, listen, I can hear mommy saying this. I she told me don't do this, don't do that, look out for this, look out for that. So it's not nagging. And I think kids have this thing, oh, you always nagging me. No, I'm not nagging you. I'm trying to develop you for life. I'm trying to show you life skills so that when a situation does present itself, you know how to maneuver and get out of it.
Right. I don't know what happened to my son. Okay. And I think it was Saturday, I was talking about that same thing, I gave the example of, you have that child. I was talking about kings and, men stepping up. But the example I gave was just that, where, the young man was, he was doing his schoolwork. He was in extracurricular activities. His mom was, making sure that he just did everything, and she would talk to him and he would listen.
Mm-hmm.
But, he goes outside and one of his friends from way back passes by, and he just wants to know if he wants to go and ride and go see a movie with him and his two friends. And his mom says, oh, why not? You all caught up on everything, no problem. Now you haven't seen this young man in 10 years, but you say, okay. So long story short, one has a gun, one has some drugs, but guess what? Everybody going down. Everybody going down.
Yep.
So Yeah, those relationships can get very toxic. And
Hmm.
like you say, you talk, and hope that they're listening, and then you gotta pray. So you gotta do those two things.
Yep, that's it. That's the key, because some teenagers are just they just want to fight everything you say. They want to be rebellious. And at some point, parenting has to stop, and trusting has to start, and praying never ceases. So,
Yep.
it's the cycle of life. They are always going to be your children, but at some point you have to let your adult children make decisions and suffer the consequences for those decisions.
All right. Yeah. So, one of the things I always say that is very important as far as building your best life is that self discipline, because, you go so far in life and you always have someone kind of guiding you and pushing you. But, you get to a point in your life, you're responsible for yourself.
Yes.
So when you were growing up, as you were younger, do you recall if you were like always self-disciplined, or did you have to be motivated a lot?
I think I blossomed later in life. I think that I was one of those teenagers who my mom would say, do this, do that. And I was like, no, I'm not doing what you say. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I think with her passing when I was 17, that kind of catapulted me into the reality of adulthood sooner than I would have wanted to be an adult. And so I realized that if I don't motivate myself and if I don't help myself, then no one else is going to help me. And I always had the desire to go to university, but I used to always tell myself I could never go to school because my dad was an elderly person at the time, and my mom had passed away. And I'm like, how am I going to pay to go to school? So that discipline came with me wanting a better life for myself, because we could have all of the advantages, but if we don't take advantage of what we have and see the value of it and be grateful for the opportunities, then we just squander it.
Yeah.
So, it's like you could have persons pushing you on, but if that's not something that you want, you're not going to pursue it.
All right. Yes. We have a situation where we're trying to get someone to do something that they don't have to do it, but it's something that will help them in the process of where they want to go, their goals in life, where they want to see themselves, but they just don't want
Um,
to do this piece
yeah.
of it. And
Yeah, I think everybody has to have that aha light bulb turning on moment where they said, you know what, this is going to benefit me, so I should. But as long as you're telling someone and they're resistant, then that's like beating a dead horse. That's what we say. You're beating a dead horse because you want it to move, but it's dead. So people have to come into that realization themselves. They want to. They have to have. They want. They have to want better for themselves. And self discipline comes in part when you realize that you're going after something. Then you adjust yourself to be disciplined.
yes. So you have to make those adjustments in life. I mean, sometimes life pushes you into it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, like you said, even the light comes on and you want to do it, or life pushes you that way.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, Agnes. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to see you today. So, Andrea, what do you think is why do you think is essential for a person to be self-disciplined? Uh,
Well, it's important because you cannot achieve anything in life if you don't have discipline. You can't say you want to go to school, or you can't say you want to obtain a degree if you don't attend classes. When I was in university, I had a few of my classmates who, I didn't have a choice to be on teams, because when you're doing business, they force you to do project work in teams. And I would have some of my classmates just don't care about the assignment. Like, you do it, you know. I even remember this semester, over the holiday break, one of my team members told me she's going to Inago to eat donkey. And I'm like, but we have our paper we have to work on. And she's like, no, I go into Inagua. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? And I had to go to the professor and said, listen, she didn't contribute anything. I don't think I should put her name on this paper. What should I do? And you have those tough times when you have to really decide what's in the best interest of self.
Right.
And not because you're in school means that you want to be in school. So not everybody has self-discipline. Some persons, like I said, they have opportunity and they squander it. And
Right.
then later in life, they regret it because the time has already passed and they could have been so much further ahead if they have just heeded. But, some persons just want party until 30 and then play catch up from 30 to 40
Right.
when they could have been sitting pretty. So, it's just their journey. We make choices, and that's what makes us human. We have the ability to choose.
Yep, I agree. Yes, but that thing, that self-discipline, I mean, but like you say, you can't make anybody do anything. We only have control of one person, and that's ourselves. But it can come back to bite you.
Yeah, it does. And it 9 out of 10 times it does. You end up later in life having regrets that I should have done this that way, or I should have listened, or, you regret it later on.
Right. Yep. And I'm so glad I'm not the only one that got that happened to them in a project. That is just devastating. People, they don't work on it. You halfway finished with the project, got 2 weeks left, and they say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm in your group." Oh, no, you're not.
Yes, exactly. And I had some professors would made me put their names on the paper, and they did absolutely nothing. And in fact, in university, some of my classmates would ask me which classes I was signing up for, because they wanted to make sure they followed me in my classes so they could be on my team, because they know I was going to make sure I get a good grade and they didn't have to do anything.
Wow.
So it's like, all right, you're the bookworm, you do the work, and we'll just put our name on your paper and get an A.
Oh, let's just look Andrea up.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and the other thing that I like is mindset, because we know that like that's something that a lot of people don't really even think about, when we talk about mindset, and they kind of like look at you. But
Yeah.
we know that happens within ourselves and the way other people interact around us as well. So you can have that positive mindset or negative mindset.
Yeah.
Well, you just, I can't do this. I'll never have that. Woe is me. And you have other people where they are like, that's something I want. I'm going to go after it. If I got to work 2 jobs, that's what I'm going to do. Things like that. So can you provide an example maybe of a situation and outcome when someone has a negative mindset versus someone with a positive mindset, and how that would work out?
Well, what comes to mind is myself. I always like to use myself as an example versus trying to say someone else's life is a mess. Let me talk from my experiences. And for a long time, I was your wallowing in self-pity and saying, I can't, because I had a fixed mindset. And I looked at my circumstances and I said, I can't do this or I can't do that because of where I'm at. And it was not until I changed my mindset to a growth mindset that I started to see possibilities that, hey, maybe I can do this. And you know what? I can do that. And so it's all about shifting the way you think about a situation, and you stop allowing not only the limiting beliefs that you put on yourself, but also what other people put on you. Because sometimes you have people speak into your life and they think it's positive, but it's negative. And they're telling you, you can't do certain things because of certain situations. And you keep telling yourself, you know what, they're right. I really can't do that. But as long as you swallowing that, you're not going to advance as an individual. It's always going to be something telling you, you can't, you can't, you can't. And my favorite quote is by Henry Ford, when he says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So only you determine the mindset that you have, which determines where you go in life and what you are able to accomplish. And as long as you keep saying you can't, you won't. It's as simple as that. And so for me, when I changed my mindset And I started telling myself, you can, you can, you can. I was like the little train that could, like, chuk, 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 chuk. You could, you could, you could. I was like, you know what? The sky is the limit. I could do whatever I say I want to do. I could do it. Because if someone else has done it, to me, that means it can be done. And if they could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
So it's all about changing the way you perceive things, having a positive mindset, always be open to opportunities, and just grow. Keep growing, keep growing. There's no limit.
Well, that was an excellent example of that you gave, even though it was yourself, because as I see you, you're always out there you're just going and you're doing and you're getting so much accomplished. And I know people are, just get excited, like you said, they were like, what class are you going to have? Because they want to get in that class because they know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But you
They-
changed all
they want to follow the nerd. It's like, she's gonna make sure she get that good grade, so we're gonna follow the nerd.
Yeah, but that's great. So here comes your daughter, and she has a wonderful role model that she can see. What my mom does. My mom can do. She probably thinks you can do anything in the world, and so that's just a great example. Because I've seen trying to get in contact with you. I said, well, did she ever sleep? She's the busiest lady. But that's a good thing. So you're doing things that you enjoy and you're helping other people. So that is wonderful. I love the example.
Yes, but I must say, my thing in life is not to be busy. It's to be productive. So I may have a full schedule, but it's not busy work. It's productive work where I'm actually not only working on myself, I'm working on my daughter, I'm working on my business, I'm working on my community. So it's a lot of hats, but it's being productive.
Yes. Great job. Great job. Hello, Carol and Brian. Thank y'all for tuning in. Time went so fast here. But my last question I had, like you say, was 6 months before his assassination. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke to a group of junior high students, and he asked them, what is your life's blueprint? Now, I was going to ask you to give us your thoughts on what those final words could mean. I'll just give you his quote, but I know because you said you do the future.
Yes.
Remember
the future.
Right. Answer us based on that. But I just want to give you his little quote. He says, be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be a sun, be a star. But it isn't by size that you win or fail. Be the best of whatever you are. But give us your perspective.
Well, I totally agree with Dr. Martin Luther King and that saying, because for me, what that means is that whether I'm female, whether I'm Black, whether I'm a teenage mother, whether I was, on my own from 17, it does not matter. That's just my description. That's not me. And it makes a difference when you realize that your hands and what you do with your hands, it doesn't really matter. It's what you do in the lives of other people, the legacy that you leave behind, and the life that you live. And you could be whatever you want to be. Whether he said is a bush, a tree, a trail, a highway, it doesn't matter. Those are descriptions. It matters what you leave behind and what people can say about you and the type of person that you were, the life that you lived, the character that you displayed, and the change that you made in this world. So when all is said and done and the curtains close on little old Andrea Pratt-Smith, I wanted to be said and known that it was not about me, that she lived a life that was dedicated to God, that she fulfilled the purpose that he had for her, that she followed it to a T, that she was led by the Holy Spirit, and that no matter whatever the hardships were, she put on her lipstick, she sit in front of this camera, and she made it look easy, even though it was hard.
Great job. Well, in closing, can you give our young people some tips on reaching that future place?
Yes, like I said, in thinking about the future and remembering the future, you are more than what you do. And in everything, try to live your purpose. Seek the will of the Lord. It's only what you do for God that will last, nothing else. Everything else will just blow away on the wayside and will not be remembered. But when you do what is your purpose in life, then you're fulfilling your destiny. And every opportunity and every door will open and it will become easy after a while. But you have to be able to go through the fiery furnace. And like Psalm 23 said, so I walk. Don't cause me start preaching.
Go ahead.
It's like though I walk through this valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. So always have that word in your heart. Pursue what you feel the Lord has led you to do, and He will be there. He will lead you and guide you. He will even carry you because you are doing His will, and amazing things will happen. You will live a legacy beyond your life, and you will make a difference in this world. And that's what I am all about, fulfilling my purpose. It's not about me. It's about me being obedient to the will of God.
Great. I love that. Fulfill your purpose. I think many of us, that's something that, many of us need to do is to seek the will of God because He has a purpose for us. And if we just, seek after Him and get that purpose and follow that, we'll be so much far ahead.
And with me, with remember the future, that's for me. And I take that around with me because when God gave me the vision of my life, He didn't give me the blueprint. It was blank, but I saw the future. I saw the end result. So when I talk about working backwards, it's because God doesn't show us how to get there. He show us the destination, but He doesn't give us the blueprint for the journey. So when you remember the future, I could tell you all the things that He showed me and that I know will come to pass. But how to get there, I have to work backwards. I have to know that I have to do A, B, C, and D because I'm trying to get to the finish line. And that's how God works.
That's right. Great job. Great information. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hi, Jackie. Thank you for tuning in. That's okay. You can go back and watch it from the beginning. Glad to see you on here, though. Oh, trying to put, okay. Yeah, Carol says, seek ye the kingdom of God. Very good. Yes. I love it.
Yes, that's the first thing. Once you have Him first, everything else just comes into alignment. Seek ye first.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So that was amazing. Thank you so much for that information. And
so this is the blueprint for life, the ANDREA PRATT-SMITH version.
Yes. All right. We're going to take a little short break here. And when we come back, I want you to let everybody know what, again, if they missed it, what it is that you're doing, how they can reach you and everything. Give us a little short break here.
Okay.
Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah D. Smith invites you to the annual Mothers and Sons Seminar. That will be held Monday, May 2nd to Thursday, May 5th at time 6:30 p.m. EST each night on Facebook and YouTube. Our special guests include Denise and Henry Dinkins, Jocelyn, and Damian Charles, Anita, and Ticarius Cummings, Nick and Bryant, and John Marcus Smith. This will be a time of equipping, motivation, and inspiration. For more information, visit now www.buildyourbestlife.org.
All right. Thank y'all so much. All right, Jackie has a question here. Let's see before we move on. You think that there are times when we are clueless to the blueprint for our lives?
Absolutely. That goes without saying.
Yes.
Sometimes we are definitely lost. And all that means is that we're not on one accord with God and we're not seeking His will. We're trying to do things in our own power. And whenever you try to do things within your own power, you tend to don't know how to fix it because you haven't surrendered all. And once you surrender and you release it, He will show you, He will guide you, He will, for me, He just told me to do one simple thing: take it one day at a time. That's it. Is don't look and say how you have to do this within this week or this month or this year. He just asked me to do it one day at a time. And that's all I'm doing, one day at a time. So with that small increment, I can do that. I can do a 24-hour sprint. I can work stuff in a 24-hour sprint. But if I try to go outside of his guiding me and him giving me feedback on that 24 hours, then I will be out of alignment. And when I feel like I'm out of alignment, I have to press the pause button, go back into my war room and seek his face again and tell him, Lord, I feel like I'm off the blueprint. I need you to get me back in alignment with your will because it's your will. So that's definitely we come out of alignment. We lose track of the blueprint. We don't even have a blueprint sometimes. But when you surrender, you submit, and you tell him that you're living for him and you're a willing vessel, he will use you.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right. So you want to tell everybody how they can get in contact with you, what you have going on?
Yes, you can reach me through LinkedIn by my full government name. No, not the full government name. I'm just kidding. By Andrea Pratt-SMITH. If you search LinkedIn, Andrea Pratt-SMITH, I will be there. And also, you can meet me at our Bahamas Agile and Project Management Community meetups. We meet the last Thursday every month at 6 p.m. And you can find our community of practice through meetup.com. Just search Bahamas Agile and Project Management Community, and that's where you can find me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So remember, everybody, please share this video if you have not. Please like it. And I need everybody to do me a favor, even if you watch on Facebook, if you can go over to the YouTube channel and like my page over there, I would greatly appreciate it. And also, please visit my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org. That's www.buildyourbestlife.org. On there, you can read my blog that comes out each Monday. You can see my calendar of events, find out more about my platform, more about myself. And you can also see those services that I offer, which is coaching, consultation, speaking, and webinar speaking. And you can also purchase an autographed copy of my book, Build Your Best Life. It's a book that will enhance your life. It is for everyone. So go out there and check it out. And if you say, wow, I like Kindle books, Amazon.com, I got you.
But Miss Deborah, I must say that my first book is still inside my belly, but I need to get it out.
All right, we're going to need you to get it out.
Yeah.
All right. So I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, same time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about interior work. So please join us. And again, thank you so much for tuning in today. You could have been doing anything else, so I really appreciate it. But your life is what you make of it. Follow my basic principles, and again, to build your best life, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. And remember, building your best life is our business. That is not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. And I hope to see you Thursday. Thank you again so much, Andrea.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me.
or anytime.
Bye,
Bye bye,
everyone.
everyone.